Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about our paper that was actually recently published in the special science communication edition of the Annals of the Entomological Society of America by Ashley Whiffen, Andrea Wild and myself. Andrea and I are from CSIRO's National Research Collections in Canberra, and I work in the Australian National Insect Collection, where we have over 12 million insect specimens and are the world's largest collection of Australian invertebrates. These collections are research-based only, and we don't actually have public exhibits or a public face. So the promotions we do are small tours that we give inside the collections, as well as traditional print, television and radio media, as well as social media. Ashley, on the other hand, is from National Museum Scotland in the UK, that has over 2 million insect specimens and is part of the larger National Science Collection. The major difference is that National Museum Scotland are research-based, but they also offer public displays where they can directly interact with the general public. And they offer public exhibits, workshops, and even presentations to get the message across to the general public directly. Honestly, social media has really changed the way that we actually get our research out there to a wider audience and in real time as well. It's great for staff, students, collection managers, and other entomologists to actually be able to raise awareness in our collections, in our research, and show people what it is to be an entomologist and share our day-to-day activities. It's really great because it also gives us a platform to be able to talk to the general public directly in order to change public misconceptions too. So many people hate flies, so I love going on Instagram and Twitter to show people that, flies can actually be beautiful and they have a really important role in our ecosystem that we take for granted. What's also great is that if you're an entomology collection with a public display, you can get feedback in the form of the comments from users to see what they liked, what they didn't like, and you can integrate these into future exhibits. What's really important too is the average users of social media are between 15 and 35 years of age. And this is exactly when someone would be seriously considering a career in entomology. So why not hook them in as soon as they might be making that important decision? Anyone can post on social media, whether it's the official institution account that owns the collection, like CSIRO or National Museum Scotland, or the individual staff or students that work for those collections, and we call these spokespeople. And what's great is that it can work both ways. The spokespeople can help promote the institution collection, but also the institution can really raise awareness and promote the actual spokespeople themselves. The other thing is that if you're pressed for time, you can encourage visitors of the collection to take photos of their experiences with the insects and upload them online and tag the official insect collections account. This is a great way of still getting social media posts out there to promote the collection, but it's not actually taking time away from the staff. If you've never used social media before, it might seem a little daunting with all the choices of apps and platforms to use, but I would say just go at your own pace and see what you're comfortable with, and there's lots of tutorials out there online. Fortunately, Ashley, Andrea and I developed a framework that we've called Scope that insect collections can use to promote their research and outputs on social media. The first step is to develop a strategy around your social media posts. So what do you actually want to get out of your social media posts? Do you want to inform people about biodiversity and why it's important? Do you want to create interest in a career in entomology? Do we want to promote our exhibits to get more people in seeing them? Or do we want to share our research publications to inform public policy or kind of influence the way people vote? Or simply, do we want to just connect with other researchers and insect collections that are using social media? It's important to think about the audience too when you're crafting your social media posts. If you want to target the research community, you might want to use a bit more jargon like species and genus names, but if you want to appeal to the general public, you might want to just use the common names and cut back on the jargon altogether. You might even find that the audience that you're trying to connect with might not even be on social media to start with. The next step is to start thinking about the content you might actually want to include in your posts. It's important to include multimedia because you're more likely going to get a higher engagement rate too. And fortunately for us in insect collections, we have some pretty beautiful specimens we can share with the online audience. Typical content could be high-resolution images of the research specimens, or even videos of the species alive in the field. But you can also give a really cool behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to actually curate these specimens in a research collection too. You can also share links using social media to previously published research papers, radio interviews, television appearances, and even the websites where people can click and buy tickets to one of the museum events too. I generally prefer to use original content that I've actually taken in the collection myself, rather than using other people's images, because copyright might be an issue too, so that's something to consider as well. The next step is to make your posts engaging, and there are generally 3 types of posts that are considered to deliver the best results from the literature. And this includes promotional posts that are promoting an upcoming event or your research outcomes, or just generally advertising the collection. The second is an educational post that is supposed to inform the audience with facts or just provide insights of what it's like to be an entomologist and why the entomology collection exists. And the third is entertainment posts that are supposed to be enjoyable or entertaining to the audience. And what's great is that you can actually mix and match these different filter types as well. So a post can be entertainment, but also educational as well. It's important to choose the social media platform that works for you, but different platforms have their own idiosyncrasies and might even have a different audience. Twitter is great for really fast, in real-time communication. However, it only lets you write up to 140 characters, whereas Facebook allows you to post much longer pieces, and you might reach a wider audience on Facebook too, because there are just generally more users on Facebook. Instagram's true to the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And YouTube's probably one of the most popular platforms for sharing videos, although most of the online traffic was directed to a museum by people searching for the topic rather than following the museum's account. The final step is evaluating the success of your social media campaigns by using the different altmetric services that are provided by each social media platform. It's a really good idea to calculate the overall reach of each post and record the number of impressions, views, likes, and shares. It's also important to take in consideration the positive and negative feedback from user testimonials too. And during this evaluation stage, you can actually use this data to help influence future posts and make them better. Here's an example from the Australian National Insect Collection. And the strategy of this social media campaign was to raise awareness of the collection to the general public. The content we chose were high-resolution images of the specimens, staff holding specimens, and also of the collection itself. And we used 3 different engagement filters: the promotional, educational, and entertainment style. The social media platforms we used were the main 3: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We then calculated the success of each social media post by using the altmetric evaluation, and you can see this in the table. We calculated the total reach by combining the number of impressions from each social media platform, which you can see in bold at the bottom. And clearly, the entertainment style posts outperformed the rest and generated the total reach of over 28,000 people, followed by educational with 17,000, and then finally promotional style posts with 11,000. So the entertainment style post was the best at raising the awareness of the Australian National Insect Collection, and we can take this into consideration for future social media campaigns by prioritizing entertainment and educational style posts. Our final example is from National Museum Scotland, where the strategy of this social media campaign was to promote tours, workshops, and an external event to the general public. The content that was chosen were blog posts that were written by Ashley and hosted on the National Museum Scotland website, with links provided in each post. This campaign was designed to directly promote the insect collection and the public events hosted by the National Museum Scotland. By evaluating the campaign, we could see that the tours had the highest reach, followed by the workshops and then the external event. We should note that the external event was only calculated for the Twitter impressions only though. What's really interesting is that the insect collection can only offer tours to up to 12 people, but it can have a reach of over 26,000 people on social media. One of the most exciting things, though, is that the museum was able to read the comments and the positive feedback that they got on social media and identified that there was a real demand to increase the amount of tours that they provide. So they're able to incorporate this feedback into the way they actually deliver tours, and they increase their frequency from twice a year to once a month. Wrapping up, I just want to emphasize that social media is such an awesome way for us as entomologists and research collections to actually express to a wide audience why our research is important and why people should care about our biological collections. It's a really great way of inspiring respect for what we do to a wide audience. If you've never used social media before, I think now's the time. Just get into it and see how you feel. There's plenty of tutorials out there online, and it's just a great way of fostering collaboration between museums, collections, and also the staff too. This paper in itself is a testimony of how awesome social media is, because Ashley and I have never actually met in person. We've done most of our collaborating on social media, and this paper is a great result of that. Most importantly, I think social media has the power to inspire the next generation of entomologists. And this is especially the case in Australia, where entomology is declining. So it's really important to get people involved and share our passion and show them why it's such a cool field to get involved in. I just wanted to thank David Yates and all the other staff at the Australian National Insect Collection for letting me hound you and take photos of you holding specimens. Maggie for inviting us onto this special science communication edition of the journal, and also Morgan for getting me excited about social media when I first started out. And a shout out to Sydney for having the greatest Halloween costume of all time. Oh, and check me out on social media. Thanks, guys.